All right, welcome to 118. In this video, we're going to be looking at the Marvel Universe Giant Size X-Men 35th Anniversary set. This is just an awesome way, and it actually came out in like 09 or 10, I think, but an awesome way to just get a collection of cool classic X-Men characters right before, and kind of congruent to how they were with the 90s. Oops, almost forgot this guy. It's how they were when they got into the 90s with the animated series. When I was younger, I would get some X-Men figures every once in a while, and then when that 90s cartoon came out, it really just blew me away, and then it really cemented the X-Men as kind of my favorite Marvel property, along with Blade. All right, and it came with a number of figures. We've got Wolverine, Storm, Thunderbird, Nightcrawler, Cyclops, and Colossus. And I kind of want to look at the articulation on some of them. You know, one thing to note, because, yeah, I think that's really the next step here. Well, actually, let's talk about the sculpt first. I think in general, the sculpts on these are awesome. Again, these are 18 scale, 1/18 scale figures. There's always going to be, you know, something not perfect, but given that we have some great sculpt here where you can definitely identify who they are. There's some details like on Wolverine's shoulder pads. There's some lines in there, wrinkles in the pants, and they even have a wash in it to kind of let the detail stand out. You can even see that a lot with Colossus and how he looks there, and then even with Nightcrawler. There's some things, though, that don't make these perfect, but I think you can only go so far, although sometimes I question how they put them together. For instance, we've got the hip joint articulation in Wolverine is awesome. It's just also a little bit limited. Sometimes it really is hard to get any more movement. You really have to work on that, and then sometimes it kind of looks funky. But kind of looking at the arms, so like you can see how with Wolverine, you're getting a lot of articulation. Look at the sculpt. That's one thing I want you to admire as we look at these is they really did a good job with the sculpt. So where there's limited articulations made up with the sculpt. So if you just get the right angle and the right look, you can pull off whatever you need to. The head moves up a bit, moves down just a little bit. It's got a good chest thing. It reminds me of the Mousicles I've looked at in the previous video for Fortnite. Where it's got the good sculpt of the muscles, but also the abdomen. The cut there is just in the perfect placement. And then the hands rotate here. But yeah, if we're going to look at the legs, so they've got the ball joint. You can kind of see where you would have to like really work it to get it where you want. But then if you moved it back down, you would have to kind of work it again. And in fact, I think that kind of helped me get an idea. So I think what's weird is it's kind of a weird joint, but you can get what you want. You just have to work with it a little bit at times. So if you really wanted his legs to be a little more together, and I think even right there, let's see, let me move this up, then around, and then back. That way you can get the legs closer. That's maybe a little too close, so I'd probably work on that a little bit just to get him standing up straight. Okay, so that works. Again, you have to work on the hips just a little bit. You can kind of see where it looks like he's almost going forward just a tad, but don't want to get onto that too much. With Cyclops, so what's a difference with here is there's not that like ball joint or thigh cut. We kind of see differences like with Colossus, you'll see it's just that thigh cut, which is kind of more the way to go for these action figures. This doesn't have it though. So you kind of get, super limited turn on that really. You can kind of get it going out like that if you want, but you're going to get limited here. And I guess that's okay. Because everything else is fine. This guy looks cool. One thing that is disappointing, other than the fact that there's this like blue mark on his lip, might be hard to see, it's just kind of annoying. Let's see that it's there, but is he's got the hand so he can ignite the visor, but I haven't found a way to manipulate the articulation to actually get him to put the hand on the visor. It's always like above it. And so that's a little disappointing. The only thing I can think of is maybe some modification. Take out the hand joint here, which I don't want to attempt to do, and maybe try to give it a little bit of a hinge so it can move down. But yeah, you really can't get him to put his finger on his visor. Now, Storm is really interesting because she's got this cape that is plastic and it's attached to her arms. So honestly, her arms are limited. There's not much you could do with it. And, you know, it's whatever. Another thing that's a little strange, and maybe it's the best way to go about it, is a lot of this paint on her is just painted on. There's no sculpt. I guess the clothing I should be saying specifically is not sculpted. It's just painted. So it kind of looks odd. But, I mean, I guess that's what they've got going for now, and I guess that kind of makes it limited for the arms too. But it still looks cool, you know. I mean, look at the hair. The hair is really well done. I would even say the face is really well done as well. Can I get a good shot of that? No, it's really wanting to fight me on the face, but yeah, you can kind of, if it's focusing, you can kind of see there's a really well done face. We've got this guy, Thunderbird. He's never been a big favorite of mine, actually, in X-Men. He didn't really show up a lot in the later animated series, so I don't know. I never really had a connection with him. The figure looks pretty cool. I would say some issues are with the feet or the legs. Again, it doesn't have that thigh swivel, so that kind of makes it a little awkward sometimes. And then on the arms, this part is really thick and heavy, so it's kind of hard to really get his arms to come down all the way, so sometimes it looks like he has to stick them out all the time. I mean, otherwise, he's a cool figure, a cool looking guy, so I can't really complain too much. But Nightcrawler, this one is okay. He has a unique sculpt due to his weird body frame, but with the abdomen, it's kind of weird unless this is broken. It's just kind of like when you have him go up, you can see the gap right in there of where the articulation would be. And when you go down, I mean, the up and down is amazing, but it's just kind of a weird thing, especially if you just want him to get him standing straight up. Now, if the point was to have him down so he can look up, the problem is his head just comes off if I try to get him to look up. It's a very limited ball joint that's in here. I would love to maybe cut that, add kind of the newer Star Wars vintage collection ball joints in here where it's like a double barbell. That way to kind of give it more range. But yeah, because of that, it's a little awkward. It's a little weird. But at the same time, it's very awesome. He doesn't have that thigh cut, but he seems to be able to move his thigh around a little more when you're trying to get certain poses done. So yeah, this one's pretty good. Now, lastly is Colossus. Out of the set, this is probably the best engineered, in my opinion. Maybe it's due to the size, so it was easy to do. But you've got his arm here, where sometimes you have to manipulate that. Hold on. To get that up, there we go. So it rises up just as you'd expect. He's got an open hand, closed hand for some different things you would want to do. The abdomen goes all around. The head looks up. The head looks down. And all around. So that's well done. And then, yeah, we got the thigh swivel. We've got the knee here that works well. We've got the feet also with the different range of articulation, and that spins around. So this Colossus figure is probably the best of them in terms of the engineering. Even the paint work, the design, it's really well done. So anyway, this is a really cool set. You know, it's older, so you'd have to find it online or something, and I don't think it is really too expensive given the asking price for it, considering what you get. So anyway, yeah, thanks for watching.